What's going on, everybody? It is another episode of the Mainly Broncos podcast, and we are gearing up more and more for the regular season to kick off. I should say training camp, getting ready for training camp to kick off. And I believe the first day of training camp is the 31st, so we will make sure to always have you guys covered. With everything, of course, with training camp news, positional battles. We may circle again on some of those positional battles, like an episode or the day before training camp, because I like I said, I believe it's the 31st. So the 30th, when we do a show, will be kind of like this big, massive training camp preview. But if you guys have been following the news this week, there was a certain article that was posted by Sean Wickersham Seth Wickersham, detailing Sean Payton as a madman. And so we're going to be talking about that. And then obviously we're going to be bringing forward a topic that we were going to talk about on our last episode, where we talked about expectations, player expectations on every side of the ball, offense and defense, and obviously it's kind of funny. We tweeted about there's some talk about Pat Surtain versus Champ Bailey of late, and obviously Jordan kind of started it all, if you will, on that last episode where he said, "Well, if PS2 wins multiple defensive player of the year, that more than likely could end the Champ Bailey versus Pat Surtain debate." So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun conversation to talk about here tonight. First things first, of course, the order of business is make sure you hit the subscribe button for the MHRT Network page. And also hit the subscribe for the Mainly Broncos YouTube page. And as you can tell, we are streaming on all three of our Twitter X accounts. We are streaming over there on Jordan's account at Jordan T. Lopez, at Brandon's account at Brandon Miller PO, at myself at Cameron Parker PO. And so, yeah, I think first things first, how are you guys doing? Brandon, you good? Looks like things have not changed with your beautiful family room area, living room area. So that's good to see.
I don't plan to redecorate anytime soon. Just don't tell Mike I'm not paying rent.
But you good? You good? Doing good
well.
so far?
Yeah.
Maintaining your busy life?
Seth Wickersham article is... It interjects some energy in the middle of the offseason, but that was
some of the stuff is like new. Yeah, some of the stuff is new, but not surprising when you kind of think of who Sean Payton is. But some of the stuff that's rather bombshell related was pretty crazy. Jordan, how is life down there in the rainy Florida area? I hear you had some traffic just before getting here, like 500 yards away from your house.
Yeah, that's why we didn't start on time, of course, because me. But was expected to get to my house a lot earlier. But my summer has been on and off. One day my favorite team would just trade its franchise player, and then the other day I don't know what else is going to happen. So. Yeah, it's just been up and down, but I just need the Broncos to be back in my life 24/7 instead of this little dead period that we have. But yeah, just looking forward to Broncos football and football.
You would think by now Brandon Jordan would be used to the fact of trading favorite players,
Nope.
But I guess not. And yes, Josh, we'll try and bring back Pitter Patter. Let's get at her. It was just, it's one where it's kind of reached a little bit of a let's try something new phase, but it's not going to die. It is not going to die.
Jordan, how you feeling about about that trade.
I was severely depressed. I wish I was joking.
True story. I was actually gonna not play against Jordan, but he and I were gonna try and play college football 27 one night. His words: "I can't play because I am very depressed about the Jason Tatum trade."
Jaylen Brown. If it was Jason Tatum, I wouldn't be here.
Well, still, but Jaylen Brown trade.
Yeah. No, yeah, I was in a very bad state. I mean, I think the next day or the day after, one of my friends was going to drive to my house to make that because I hadn't answered no calls. I wasn't on my phone. I think I answered Cam like a while later.
Yeah.
I was not answering no calls, no time. I was just let me get off my phone for a while, and yeah, it was pretty bad.
But at least that way you avoided the microtransactions in college football 27.
That's been keeping me up in terms of in a good mood. Just seeing the reactions online, pretty funny.
Obviously, I will still be playing college football 27.
Yeah,
but it's just it's just interesting to see how the microtransaction stuff has kind of united the community a little bit.
That's kind of gross, honestly. I mean, I understand Ultimate Team. That's the point of Ultimate Team.
Yeah.
But single player, really? Like, I think someone did the math that you can have Nick Saban's entire career as a coach like if you're running a coach, if you're like a coach in the campaign.
And in the grand scheme of things,
it's still not max out.
Well, in the grand scheme of things for me, it's like it's whatever, but it's the part for me that's like they never told anybody about it, except for like a very few people. And the fact that it was like swept under the rug, and some of the EA creators, like obviously Bordeaux's the biggest one right now that's talking about it. And he's been on a roll a little bit, but the fact that there were like many people that did not know about this, and it was like blindsided them, has been pretty shocking.
Yeah, crazy.
Speaking of being blindsided to a little bit of a degree, was some of the stories in this Seth Wickersham article that was published by ESPN. I have a lot of takeaways. One is, how did Wickersham get a hold of Sean Payton to allow him to do this? First off,
yes.
With Sean being such a very, like George Payton, a very tight-lipped person and secret person, how did Wickersham actually have Sean agree to this, to where we are going to essentially do a article documentary that'll be published at a later date, which ended up being in the off season. And so the fact that it got published, and there were a few story tidbits, that we'll definitely be talking about. But I guess that's the first takeaway for me, is like, how did actually Sean just be like, yeah, sure, like, feel free to follow me for this, for the most stressful week of my life, and that would be the Buffalo Bills game in the playoffs, which they obviously won. But
didn't he do this last year too? I feel like this is not the first time this has happened. Or there's been something else that Wickersham has published.
Yeah, last year it wasn't
kind of close relationship.
Yeah, last year it wasn't following in the season. It was more about it was that famous stat that he talked about with Seth Wickersham about the quarterbacks and being sacked, and how he found out Bo was his guy, and it goes like his own formula.
Gotcha. Yeah, they clearly have some kind of relationship.
Obviously,
it is still crazy though that in season, like in the middle of a playoff run, that you're doing that. But
the biggest playoff that they had in 10 years, and you're doing that. Obviously, there is a lot to take away with that, but I will lead it off with what's not so surprising is that Sean Payton's a madman. When you hear kind of the stuff and the preparation and everything that kind of went into the preparation of practices, like a bunch of other things that Seth kind of went into. So that's not necessarily surprising. Necessarily it was just, but it's a fun read in the sense of like, okay, this is kind of like how the madman operates a little bit.
It was interesting to me specifically about the Bill Belichick storyline in that article.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. I think on the one hand, honestly, I'm like, really, this is kind of stupid, to be honest, like as an idea to even consider.
Mm-hmm.
But on the one hand, it just does go to show like how well regarded and well respected Belichick is as a coach. But that I saw that and I was like, come on. I don't need to know about that. I don't want to read about that right now. Like that's a stupid idea.
Jordan.
But maybe
I don't know. I was on the other reaction of that. I was like, imagine a coaching staff with Bill Belichick and Sean Payton leading your team. Like that would have, at least in my opinion, that would have been kind of badass. But yeah, that article was Seth Wickersham probably had the best job of them all. I mean, imagine just sitting there with Sean Payton just writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just following him around.
I guess to me, the reason I had that reaction also is like, so you're going to change like fundamentally, are you going to fundamentally change like the defense because Belichick is going to be running it?
Yeah.
And then for 5, you get like to 15 wins and you're probably not doing that in 2 seasons, or you're probably doing that in 2 seasons. You're probably not doing that in 1 season unless you're going almost undefeated, but then you switch back in the middle of the season. Like what? I don't know. That just seems stupid, but it would have been a crazy story though.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about it because obviously we know that Sean Payton is a madman, and so part of it is like just the thought process of him considering this idea of Belichick being there on the sidelines, and and coaching this, and also the conversation of what would have been actually had this gone through with the players and the people in the locker room, which is, hey everybody, I am the leader of your guys' roster, but oh by the way, I'm going to step aside for basically 1 season and I'm going to let Bill Belichick take over and be the head coach. So it's like there's a part of me that's trying to wrap my head around that. And then also on top of that, that also I think gives an idea that for as much as people harp on Sean Payton being a bit of an arrogant prick, I think there's also that angle of, here's this very like gentle side. It's going to be like, okay, I'm trying to do something for someone, try and get him the recognition that he deserves, and then he may not necessarily have, obviously, here at some point, in which obviously, due to what's been going on, I don't know if Belichick's going to be sitting foot in the NFL again and may never achieve the 15 wins here in the NFL. So, but then there's also the side of it too, that knowing the fact of who Belichick is, and then knowing the fact of what Sean is, I just don't know if the personalities would have worked. And then there's the angle of what we're finding out of what's been going on at UNC and Jordan Hudson and the Jordan Hudson.
Yeah, that's its
own. And knowing the fact that you would have had Jordan Hudson, Sean Payton, and Bill Belichick in one room.
Chaos.
Like it would have been chaos, with those 3 in one room, with the amount of personalities in one room. So it's like I'm trying to process it from all angles of this, and it's just like I kind of come away with like I just don't know if it was ever going to work.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, not even getting into the UNC stuff, just I can't imagine Sean Payton and Bill Belichick being in the same building, and like those like, I would say fiery is a fair description for both the personalities. Like, I know that it was his idea and he was, clearly at least interested in doing that for Bill, but I don't know if that would have worked out even if Sean wanted it to work out.
Yeah, who knows if Bill even wanted to do that either. So,
yeah. Obviously, one of the other takeaways, of course, is something that I thought was interesting in a sense, because it kind of maybe gives credence to the idea that maybe Sean Payton giving up play calling, might actually have some merit to it. And also within this article, it goes to show you how reliable they feel Davis Webb is within this, and the amount that he's really in those meetings and the amount that he has that trust with Sean Payton. So I think that, it's a little bit interesting. And where it kind of falls in line with this is there was a certain play that was going to happen in overtime where, they were backed up. Like, they were backed up, and it was fourth down and 11. And Sean wanted to call a fake punt there. And Tyler Bidet, of all people, decided to audible out of the formation and thus punted away. And obviously the rest is history, where Jaquan McMillan did, in fact, intercept the pass on Brandon Cooks. If the Bills fans still deny it, go ask your defensive coordinator that question. But I kind of take it off with maybe there is a little bit of some credence to the idea that maybe Sean's kind of lost a step just a tad, to the point of during that week when Seth was there, you got a glimpse of how much he also trusts Davis Webb too, and also to the fact that now I will say this. Now, this isn't news, because we had heard the fact that maybe they had been wanting to give up play calling for a while, but Seth was really getting the confirmation of they had been really wanting to move off of the idea of Sean calling plays and having Davis call plays at some point during the regular season. Jordan?
Well, I was going to say that it was kind of reassuring just to hear that and how much trust and all that he has in Davis Webb. But the one that kind of caught my eye was like Sean knows that his play calling duties and stuff they're coming to an end soon, because he even admitted it in the article he knows he's slow on certain type of stuff and stuff like that he's just getting old. Doesn't mean that he's lost the fire and all that. It's just some things get away from you when you get older, and when you have a guy like Davis Webb, you should give over those play calling duties, especially if you trust him that much and think of him that highly. So it was pretty cool to read that and stuff like that. But it's also a bit of it's not much of an ego check. It's more of self-awareness. I think Sean understands that this team needs probably just a new play caller, not a new offense, just a new play caller. And I still think it's going to go well this season. I know a lot of people have their doubts, especially in the national media, because it is Sean Payton and this and that. But if you have paid attention and watched every snap of last year, you can tell plays are getting in late, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. So I think it's going to be a lot better this upcoming year.
Yeah. And it was interesting to me as well that it talked about he kind of saw the writing on the wall a little bit, and it wasn't just because he wanted to lose Davis Webb. The part that was really crazy is that apparently before Peyton and Knicks had that shouting match that was kind of broadcast in the Raiders game, that Nick straight up asked him how long he's going to be calling plays for. That was interesting. Didn't know about that one. But it clearly is something that has been, I think, in the works and that he's been mulling over. But we all know, Sean Payton is nothing if not, I would say, a little stuck in the mud sometimes, and giving that up probably was a tough decision to come to, but I think it's also just a testament to like how much he realizes that like things are changing and he needs to maybe make some adjustments to give it to Webb. So that'll be interesting to see the fallout of. But
and Slammy Bronco kind of makes a decent point. Like maybe that's just something where, you know, Sean's maybe kind of looking at maybe something a little bit more of as far as like a front office type thing. But I will say, like, when you are given permission over a roster, you do kind of have somewhat of a front office type feel. Yeah. The way you manage, you know, the roster, and obviously with the working relationship that we all know that has been pretty good, you know, with George Payton, contrary to what you want to see and hear and read, if you will, over there on X and Twitter. Like it's a pretty good working relationship. But maybe that is something though, is that like we do know kind of how he's a bit of a nut job a little bit, right, Sean? So I mean maybe that is something where he doesn't just want to do roster construction and work the roster that he currently has. He wants to also kind of dab a little bit in the front office. But I will say, I think that's what also makes the relationship between George and him so well.
Yeah, I agree.
By
the way, that story about Tyler Bidet calling off that fake punt, I mean, man, oh man, if that didn't happen and it was not converted, we could be sitting in a different timeline right now. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how that would have played out in the media if that was not converted and Tyler Bidet did not wave that off.
Would Sean even be here?
I didn't want to say it, but it would have gone hot.
Yeah,
it would have gone hot.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Maybe not.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. And wasn't there a certain play where what actually kind of started the whole reasoning for the fake punt was because of the Bills playoff game the year before?
Yep.
And I forget what they called it because there was something that had happened with the player, like prior to that game.
And that player from the Bills did not go to practice that week because he had a baby shower.
That's right.
And they named the fake punt baby shower. And, they targeted that guy, and I mean they did get him. So
yeah, that's good O'Reilly Dixon. That's right. He was the baby shower. They named it the baby shower. Yeah, it just goes to show you, I think, just the way that, you know, Sean Payton kind of operates a little bit. And so I do advise people that if you ever get a chance to read the article, and if you haven't read the article, please do. It's over there on ESPN. I do think you will probably have to have that ESPN Plus subscription to read the article. I don't think it's a free article as of yet. But yeah, so if you do get a chance and you do get a chance to kind of read a little bit in depth on that, it's a good one. So any other final thoughts as far as the article is concerned?
I mean, I liked in the very beginning how, you know, after the Bills game, even after, so like right after the game, like post game, Seth Wickersham is in Sean Payton's office after the game, which is crazy again. And Sean's just telling him, I had this fake punt called and all this, and he's drawing the play for Wickersham. And then Bo Lowry comes in and goes, "Hey, Bo, done." And him hearing that news, I mean, that was that I still felt the disheartening in that when reading that. But the point I was going to get to was the week of the Patriots game. I think it was like a Monday morning. Sean comes in pissed, and it's because Jordan Jackson got snaps. And he's just absolutely livid. Walks into the coaches meeting just absolutely disgruntled. Goes off. Goes, how we can't stop the run, and we have a guy that can, and he played 0 snaps. I mean, I thought like those things like that. Like I love those type of details. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was crazy. I feel like the the prevailing theme I got from that article, and I mean, this is kind of already known, but it was interesting to be able to read more details about it, is Sean Payton's a little crazy. He's just a little, you kind of have to be in this business. Kind of like how, you gotta, to be a quarterback, you gotta believe like you're better than everyone else, right? That's kind of like one of the jokes that they'll say in the NFL. And I think you do have to be a little bit crazy to be a head coach, specifically on offense. But that part where he was like talking about, like, he went to bed at like 1 a.m., woke up at 7 a.m., and then he was like trying to decipher a text he sent himself at 3 in the morning.
Yes.
Run, base and heavy, RPOs, specials. Like, he's waking up in the middle of the night texting and then going back to sleep. Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
He's
also, another good one was the George Payton subtle shot on the of the Minnesota Miracle.
Yeah,
he just goes up to Payton in the middle of practice saying happy anniversary, and he just gives him a good fuck off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think it's just one of those things, like, as we said before, he's a madman, but he's our madman, and so it's just if you guys get a chance, make sure you go check that out. It's a really good article. It's one of those fun articles, I will say, that you get a chance to really kind of truly get a chance to operate to see how a head coach like Sean Payton operates. Because I mean, for as much as we were talking about earlier, Sean is a very private person, and so for him to have a blessing for Seth Wickersham to be there with him in quite literally the most important week of his life, and then probably the week after, if you will, for kind of preparing for that Patriots game, you get a chance to really kind of see how he operates. So do highly recommend that article over there on ESPN. Moving forward, speaking of the 2025 Denver Broncos, Maddie actually is not going to have a chance. He was the one that recommended this topic, and I think it's a really good topic. And specifically in the doldrums of the offseason, there's not a lot to talk about. So we find stuff to talk about. And that would be the Denver Broncos in 2025 for 14-3 in 2025. And they did beat the Buffalo Bills. They advanced to the AFC Championship game. So I have to ask the question. We're going to put a poll out there, by the way, either on my account and maybe on all of our accounts, but we'll probably do a share of this over on the Mainly Broncos Twitter account. But I asked the question for you guys and for the people that are watching the stream and commenting, and I ask, where does this 2025 team rank as far as all-time Broncos rosters? Brandon, we'll start with you.
That's tough, man.
It's a good question.
I was thinking about this, and
we at least had a week to prepare.
If we're talking all-time,
well, preface it this way.
I feel like I can't put them maybe as high as I would like to, and I feel like all of this is recency bias. And if we made it to and won the Super Bowl, I feel like that puts enough of a rose-tinted glasses on that I can kind of get there. I could get myself to that point, but I feel like there were so many aspects that were underperforming, and that Bo was kind of just dragging out of the mud a little bit, that as good as it was, I don't think I would put them super high. But what were you saying?
Well, I was going to say, to preface it this way, obviously we know they are not going to be eclipsing and be better than the teams that won the Super Bowl. You can't supplant them. No. So the team that won, in 97, they're not going to replace them and be the best, team of that one. 98, they're not going to be the best team that's replacing 98. They're not going to be doing that. the 2015, for as much as they were, speaking of ebbs and flows of a year, even with Peyton Manning, in that offense, they're not replacing it because the 2015 team still reached its pinnacle and, reached the top and won Super Bowl 50. So I kind of preface it that way in a sense of like, that's where it kind of gets to be interesting. And where I think it could be close, and I'm curious, is like, I don't think they're better than, but I do think they are just a tick below the 2020, was it the 2012 team? I'm trying to remember the 2012 team or the 2013 team that didn't make the Super Bowl under Peyton Manning. Like I would,
that's a good the record breaking offense year is what you're saying.
Well, I know I'm saying the year they didn't make the Super Bowl and they lost to the Ravens.
Oh, the Ravens year. Yeah.
Peyton Manning's first year.
Yeah. So like what I'm saying is like I think the Broncos of 2025 are not necessarily on that tier, but I think it's pretty close to where you can make a case because everybody's made the case even nationally now that the Denver Broncos should have been representatives in the Super Bowl and frankly could have won the Super Bowl in 2025. So I feel like you can make the case that it may not be at that level, as far as that specific team that Manning had, but I think they're just that tier below that where.
Interesting. So the year that I looked at comparison wise, because I don't think I can put them that high yet, but I looked at the Jake Plummer year where we went 13-3 and we lost in the AFC Championship game. And I think it's maybe slightly above that. When you look at pretty much like the entirety of the defense as a whole, Pat Surtain himself being, the elite shutdown, erase half the field corner that he is, looking at how little you got out of the running game, but how effective the offense still was. The thing that makes it hard for me to be like, I don't know still is because there were so many times where up until the fourth quarter, it's not looking great. And then the fourth quarter, you lean forward in the chair a little bit and we pull it out and do some miraculous plays. So I'm comparing it to me more against that first Plummer year, the Plummer year that when we signed him. But it is interesting to look at the first Peyton Manning year as well. I don't think I can go that high.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I'm not trying to say
fair.
that it's
yeah,
and I'm not trying to say it's higher than that or even on that plane, but I think it's like a tick below. And I think that Jake Plummer year, that's probably the one where maybe you do have that even plane where those teams are kind of tied to, together. Jordan?
So I when doing it, I had the same thought process. Like, I'm not going to put them over, obviously, the three teams that won the Super Bowl. And then I started thinking about, all right, how about the teams that lost the Super Bowl? Well, I'm not going to put them over the 2013 team that broke every offensive record. Just not going to do it. There is a debate for some of the teams that lost the Super Bowl. I don't want to go as far as saying that, they would have won it if Bo would have gotten hurt, but they would have been in it and would have fallen in that tier. So like in tiers of the teams I've won it, the teams I've lost it, and then the teams that just came up short in reaching it. So you can kind of, they're middling between the teams that didn't make it and the teams that almost made it because of that injury of Bo. But like, are we gonna put them over a team that lost the Super Bowl like the very first year of the Orange Crush, right? Like, that's an interesting debate. Are we gonna put them over the team of John Elway when I think it was the year of the drive in which they lost in the Super Bowl? Like, it's very.
And to be fair, I think there's a rather large clump of teams that's in that. Like once you kind of look at it that way, of like the teams that were kind of close, like kind of close, if you will, to teams that were just blown out in the Super Bowl. The
55-10.
The 55-10, and everything, and was against the 49ers, if you will.
The 49ers, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Washington game where they scored 35 points in a quarter.
Yeah.
Still hard to believe those things happened.
But it depends on like how you want to like layer that too, because like they made the Super Bowl. So so it's just kind of like how you want to define that. So
but it's funny though, because when you look at it, and I kind of considered this in my decision making. Yes, we didn't make the Super Bowl, but all things being equal, we're looking at this team as a whole, the roster as it stands. Like the season, okay, if we're looking at the season, that's a different thing. But if we're looking just at the roster and the potential of the roster and how they performed, if Bo doesn't get hurt, we're making it to the Super Bowl. So to me, like that's almost a given. Like this is a Super Bowl team. We didn't make it there, but like it's just because we lost Bo. But I'm including, like, I'm ranking them as a Super Bowl team when I'm having this discussion, because to me, you're easily getting there with Bo. So,
but now, are you going to do that with the 2012 team? Because it was just that one play.
But that, to me, that's different. Like, I don't know why it's different. Maybe it's recency bias, but to me, it's different. I don't know. When I look at it, like, yeah, that play sucked, but there's so many other things that go into it. You don't know what else is going to happen in that game. Whereas, like, you lose your starting quarterback, and then you go into the AFC Championship game that you probably could have won still if City didn't just make some kind of boneheaded mistakes. I don't know. To me, it was pretty obvious. Like, Bo's playing that game, we're making the Super Bowl. So, like, if the discussion is the roster, like, this is a Super Bowl roster.
Yeah.
And also that 2012 loss wasn't the divisional round. It wasn't the AFC Championship game. So I guess you can kind of – because I would put that team over the 2012 team.
The more you think about it, you think you would put 2025 over 2012?
Yeah.
I don't know. The other side of it, too, that I think is really hard, and myself has fallen into a trap of this, I think it's really easy to fall with recency bias. Like, I think it's really easy to fall with recency bias on that. Because you do have to remember, like, some of those teams, like the 2005 Jake Plummer team, obviously, because like I think it still depends on how you want to define it. Because like if you do label it as much as they were blown out, right? Like as much as they were blown out, or they were Super Bowl disappointments, right? In the John Elway years before 97 and 98, they still made it there. So it depends on how you want to define that. Because if you label it as, well, they reached the very pinnacle, they did not actually achieve the pinnacle, depends on how you want to label that, because they made it further than, any of the teams that, said were probably the best team. They just could never make it, right?
I'm going to ask AI to rank
ChatGPT.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what they say. Okay, so interesting. They had a similar thought process to all three of us. They obviously put the three Super Bowl winning teams 1, 2, and 3. The 98 team with Terrell Davis rushing for 2,000 yards is number 1. The 97 team is number 2. And the 2015 team is number 3. And then it goes to the tier of losing the Super Bowl. So that 2013 team, which broke all the records, is number 4. So they're the ones outside of the Super Bowl winners, which I actually agree. I think that was just an unfortunate start to that game. And if it would have started differently, I think the game would have been different. But that's another discussion. But so after the 2013 team, the fifth team they have is the 1977 Super Bowl loss, which is the birth of the Orange Crush. They have that team over the 86 team, which is the drive year. The year of 89 when they lost after that dominant AFC run. And they have it over the 87 team where Elway won the MVP. And then right after that 87 Elway MVP is 2025 at number 9.
Interesting.
And guess who's number 10? The 2012 team.
Damn.
That's interesting because I went to ChatGPT and I phrased the question of where does the 2025 Broncos team rank all time?
What does chat say? This is I did Google AI.
So I did ChatGPT. And they only did 8 teams. But they said the 1998 team was the best team of all time. Then they actually said the 2015 team was the second best, which I think is very interesting considering the 97 and 98 team went back to back. That I don't necessarily agree with. So as you can imagine, it's 2015, the 1997. Then the 2013 team that lost the Super Bowl is 4. The 2012 team is 6.
Wow.
The 1989 and 1987 team is 8. 7 and 8. 89 is 7. 87 is 8, which means if you're doing process of elimination, the 2025 team is actually ranked higher than the 2012 team at number 5.
Wow, so they have them top 5.
That's what mine did too.
They said the case is for the 2025 team is driven most entirely by defense. So I think for me, it's like, because that's the other side of it too, is like it was a magical season, right? Like it was a magical season that fell short. And so one of the other ways that I would also kind of look at this too is like if you were to kind of take the 2012 team, right? Like if you were to take the 2012 team and blend the 2025 and 2011 defense, that's the season I think we're having. Kind of like it was a magical season with elite defense, but when it kind of came down to it in that stretch of games as the season was winding down, was really where you got a chance to see that 2012 offense really kind of take flight and really kind of become a little bit elite as the season was progressing. That doesn't mean they are the 2012 team based on where the offense was, but just where you really kind of see things come to a head and how good that team was down the stretch. I mean, the amount of people that would come out and be like, hey, we do not want to face this team when it gets to be the playoffs. And of all things, it was derailed with the Bo Nix ankle injury. But I think like that's for me, it's like if you were to take maybe the 2011 defensive team and the magical ride that was with the 2012 of a team that was really finding its stride down the stretch, I think that's probably one of the better ways to kind of describe that team of 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also mine. The ranking it gave me was so weird because it said.
Did you ask the same thing?
I asked the same thing. And it's starting to like blend them. So it says 1 is 98, 2 is 2015, 3 is 97. Again, I don't agree with that either. 4 is 2013, and then it says 5 to 6 is 2025, 6 to 7 is 2012. So it's like saying 5 or 6, but it's only giving me 9. It's giving me the top 10, but it's only giving me 9 games or 9 seasons. So it's kind of funky, but I don't know if I could personally. Again, I don't know if I could put them. They're top. I would say they're top 10, but I don't know if I could put them quite that high.
Yeah.
Would you have put them over that team if they would have beat the Patriots with Bo?
Would I put them over that if they won the Super Bowl easily? If
No, not with the Super Bowl. If they would have beaten the Patriots to go to the Super Bowl.
To go to the Super Bowl, and they had Bo, I think I would.
Because that's how I'm judging it off. Because I do believe that if Bo was in that game, just seeing how the game played out.
Which, you know, as I say that, I'm aware that I also earlier in this podcast said that I'm viewing this as if they had Bo, they win that game. So, you know, I don't know. I've dug myself a hole here, but.
What's up, Jack? You mean Gage? That was actually the 5280 podcast that we do on Tuesdays, and we've been taking a little bit of a hiatus, if you will, and we're going to take a little bit more of a hiatus here, and we'll be back here. I think the first month of August is when we'll be back, which will be like right when the heat of training camp. So. But yeah, Gage is still doing his stuff over at Broncos Syndicate. As far as 5280, though, we're doing a little bit of a hiatus. But mainly Broncos will always, be here with Brandon and Jordan. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very interesting one. It's like how you wanted to kind of define it. Any other things that as far as that. You guys wanted to kind of touch on, a little bit. Like I said, it is relatively quiet. Or let me actually pose it this way: there's a Twitter account that's out there who's posting some really good stuff out there, and I know that Jordan has done a really good job of watching, said account. Has there been anything that you've noticed over that Sleeper Broncos has kind of tweeted that maybe is kind of like poked your interest a little bit, that's not Jalen Waddle, being a picture taken for the very first time of actually doing, the government issued Waddle in his picture.
I did see that, and that was awesome. We can actually bring up Zach Allen coming in at number 73 in the NFL Top 100. That's actually a list to acknowledge because it's voted by the peers, and there's no one that knows the players better than the players themselves. It's not media driven, it's not fan driven, it's player driven. Yeah. So, it was nice to see Zach Allen coming at 73. I thought he was going to be higher. If I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was going to be higher. I'm just glad he's on the list. Now, I am very, very curious to see where Bo Nix lands, because I was actually shocked to see him there last year, and he was at 64.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's gonna go up. Is he?
He would almost have.
No way he doesn't. Right.
I believe the players are gonna rank him higher after the year he had, and I think he might be top 50.
I'm thinking 40.
If he's top 40, I mean. I would just like top 50. That would be like a very good honor from your peers after your name gets smeared in the media every day.
And this is the thing we said when it happened when he was 64. People don't realize that, as much as people don't really put so much stock into the top 100, and I understand it because, it's all about how you merge, like how executives feel and, coaches and, all of that. I understand that. But there's nothing that would warm your heart as a player knowing the fact that your peers are voting you in the top 100 at 64, which puts you in the top 12 quarterback conversation. And of all the players who know ball, it's the players in the NFL right now who would know better than anyone because they're on the field seeing all of this unfold where we're seeing this through a TV screen, if you will, or on an NFL all 22 kind of thing. So as much as we're sitting there, the players are seeing it and actually having subtle conversations with Bo Nix on the field and really seeing it unfold. Jack, this is all-time Broncos teams, not all-time teams. So yeah, I think the way that I would phrase it to Brandon is
that top 5 team all time ever.
Yeah, for Zach Allen is that he was 90 last year, right? Like he was voted 90 last year for the NFL Top 100. He was a first-team All-Pro. Last year was the first time he had actually made the NFL Top 100. So, do I personally think he should have been voted higher? Yes. That said, I think you are starting to get a sense of where the players are really feeling Zach Allen is trending for him to really jump 17 spots. That's actually a really large number when all things is considered. So do I think he's voted higher? Yes. Do I also still think this gives credence to the idea that he is one of the most overlooked and underappreciated players in the NFL? Yes. But I love the fact that you're starting to see the trend of Zach Allen moving pretty high right now as far as being one of the top defensive tackles, in the NFL right now. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, I think the problem unfortunately with these types of lists is, and even because it's by the players, it makes it a little better, but any ranking is going to just undervalue any lineman. Offensive lineman, defensive lineman, they're not going to be ranked as highly as they should just due to the nature of the position that they play. So for him to get that recognition, I think is huge. I think he should be higher. I think he might end up even being higher next season, but I'm glad he's getting the recognition he deserves, but I don't think it's enough because it's too easy unless you are like literally, unless you are Aaron Donald, you are not getting the recognition you deserve if you're a defensive lineman. Full stop. So
I will say this though. I was shocked to see the defensive lineman he is ranked higher than. And I believe if I read correctly, he was ranked higher than Jeffrey Simmons.
That's not that shocking to me.
Based on
in the NFL Top 100?
In the NFL Top 100.
Yeah, I think so. In the ESPN one, he wasn't. Coaches and executives.
Yeah. So, because it seems like executives or media really hype up the idea of Jeffrey Simmons. And so it actually see that they put Zach Allen higher than Jeffrey Simmons, I thought was pretty interesting because I think if you do look at both of them, they're kind of also in that same conversation of Jeffrey Simmons, I think, is very appreciated around the NFL. But also it seems like maybe he's also underappreciated due to the fact that he plays for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, to me, I'm not overly surprised that they had Zach Allen above Jeffrey Simmons. That's mostly just because Zach Allen has been an absolute beast for the past 2 years in a row. But, I do think you make an interesting point because Simmons plays for the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was also ranked fairly in this. I do think Zach Allen is better than Jeffrey Simmons, but I think Jeffrey Simmons is still an incredibly good player. And I think if he played for a team that made a deep postseason run, he would be ranked higher.
Yeah. So now that boasts the question, because Zach Allen is the very first, right, Bronco to appear on this list. Who's next? Because I had done a tweet a couple days ago where before all of this happened, I believe it was, where I kind of gave my guess as far as players who should be on the top 100. Obviously he's not going to make it, but he should have made it, and that is Jaquan McMillan. But the players I rattled off, obviously we can check the bar with Zach Allen. Zach Allen made it. Bo Nix, Pat Surtain, I think Nick Benito. I do think we could see Jalen Waddle sneak in there, but now that we're at 73, I don't know if we will.
Yeah, he was unranked last year, and I wonder if the players are going to give him his recognition for what he did for the Dolphins this past year, especially with the situation he was given. The one I'm interested in, are they going to put any offensive linemen from the Broncos in the top 100?
Quinn Miners, yeah.
I think Quinn Miners or Garrett Bowles. I don't think both of them, unfortunately, even though they probably
there was none last year.
None.
Not one offensive lineman from the Broncos did not make it last year.
Oh, I thought you were saying no offensive lineman. I was like, there's
no. There was offensive lineman.
There's no way that's accurate.
No, there's offensive lineman. There was none for the Broncos.
I think one of them makes it. I think it's probably going to be Bowles of the two, just because I think left tackle by nature is viewed higher than guard.
I don't know. I'm going to put my – based on where I have my tweet, Quinn Miners, Garrett Bowles, PS2, Nick Benito, Zach Allen's a check, Bo Nix, and then obviously I said like maybe Jalen Waddle. But that is what? 2, 4, 6? That's a lot of players.
That's a lot of players.
So I think that Quinn Miners – now that you're at 70,
but then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, well, Bo Nix isn't that good. He had 5 top 100 players on his team."
Because that's exactly what the narrative is doing. Obviously, I saw a Chargers fan just the other day, or it was today or something, where I believe it was Warren Sharp who tweeted that the Broncos, in his eyes, were viewed as the number one offensive line, in football. And even if you're voting number one, it still doesn't change the fact that Bo Nix also has helped make that offensive line better.
I mean, he's helped them. I mean, you already know my viewpoint. He's helped them a lot. Because the line looked a lot more different again with Stidham back there.
I mean, Peyton Manning, it's the argument for Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning made the offensive line better, as much as that was such a good offensive line. And the perks of what Bo has to his game, and one of where Peyton and he are similar, is the quick release. Because they have a quick release, I think has really kind of helped it. And I think that, where it's also helped and maybe to a certain degree hurt them a little bit is his scrambling ability, So I don't know. It's just, but I do think though that like at the very most you'll see 6. And I do think you will see Nick Benito. Benito on here.
He was 38 last year, and he's coming off his best year yet. So you think he'll be past 38? He should be.
I'll play it safe, and I will say he'll be around 38 this year.
I think Pat Surtain should stay in the top 10 just because I'm looking at the top 10 from last year. I mean, Justin Jefferson is probably going to drop out. He was on number 9, especially with the year he had. Myles Garrett will go up. I think Derrick Henry was at 7 last year. I think he might drop out of the top 10. Burrow might drop out of the top 10 because he was hurt last year. So Saquon Barkley was number 1, and obviously that's not going to remain the same. Now, I will preface this and tell everybody Drake May is going to be up there, so don't freak out, everybody.
Yeah.
The media has hyped him up enough where the players now all know that he's good. Well,
he might be. He's probably going to be higher than Bo.
He will be higher than Bo.
He for sure will be higher than Bo.
He did have a better season than Bo. There's no denying it. It's just.
I wonder where he's going to be put.
Yeah. So, I will be shocked if Drake May is not in the top 12.
Where do you think Herbert's at? He was at 6 last year. Only 8 behind good old Bo Nix. By the way, the last thing the Chargers need is Bo Nix to be ranked higher than Herbert. Because, my God, there will be a war.
That'd be so funny.
Or imagine they're just like side by side, like 39 and 40. That would be hilarious.
Where are they be going to put Patrick Mahomes? Is what I want to know.
Especially with the year he had before his injury. It wasn't the best.
I mean, it was not great.
Yeah. Broncos should at least get 5.
He hasn't been great for like 3 years, but whatever.
Yeah. My prediction is the Broncos at least get 5. Hopefully 6.
Yeah. I was saying 6, and that's just because, I'm hoping they can appreciate offensive linemen with guys like Quinn Miners. If you do see anything with Quinn Miners, if you will, I think it'll be within this threshold of not that you saw 73. It'll be something probably within that
next several days.
Yeah, like 60 to the early 50s, if you will. It's kind of like where you'll probably see his name be dropped. And then Garrett Bowles probably, he and Nick Benito, I'd assume, will probably be kind of close together, I assume. And then hopefully
no Riley Moss.
No Riley Moss. And then I'm kind of like guessing, and then I'll actually take a bit of a risk here. Bo Nix will be where Nick Benito was ranked last year.
38.
So he'll be ranked in the top 30 at some point. Or inside the top 40. We'll just say it that way.
I'll take that.
That'd be sick.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Any other things that maybe have kind of caught your eye a little bit? Like, Brandon, is there something that kind of caught your eye a little bit? The last couple weeks or so that maybe was a Broncos related thing, or
not particularly, man. That Wickersham article was kind of the only spark I've had recently in this dark abyss in the middle of the off season where nothing happens. I'm so ready for football to be back.
Well, we might as well end it off with this, and obviously it is a sport that Jordan does not want to talk about right now due to the Jaylen Brown trade. But it's important to talk about due to the nature of Denver sports, and that is, do we actually think that LeBron James will be wearing a Denver Nuggets uniform in 2026?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
There's a lot of mixed reviews now.
Not this market. It's not big enough.
There's a lot of mixed news now about like whether LeBron has the Nuggets, still in his top teams, or they're, not in the top teams, if you will. So I will say what I said when we signed Peyton Manning. Obviously, we signed Peyton Manning and stuff, but just the fact that we are in the conversation for LeBron James is the victory of itself.
That is true. I never thought I would see that said in a non-joking way, but I don't think it's happening.
Yeah. Now, Jordan, due to the fact that we did open this up and having the basketball conversation, take it. Your floor is yours. Go vent for your 5 minutes of frustration of why the Boston Celtics probably should have traded Derek White instead of Jaylen Brown, or that Jaylen Brown should be remaining a Boston Celtic, and why you are so depressed on the fact that two of your favorite players now have decided to be traded from your favorite football team in Jerry Jeudy and Jaylen Brown.
And this was just a quite bit different just because one of them won a championship and maybe an MVP and all that. But Yeah, it's just the new CBA really messed things up for the NBA. It's probably it changed the history of the NBA and how teams are viewed and how teams are constructed. I mean, God knows what it would be if there was not a CBA like this that's so bad. And who knows how the Nuggets would look like? Who knows how the Celtics would have looked like and would have kept their team from 2024? There's so many what ifs with this terrible CBA. And you think you would reward teams for drafting and developing guys, but you can't even do that because it's eventually going to catch up to you. And yeah, it's just between the new ownership that bought the Celtics to wanting to cut money as long, and they can say as much as they want that it's not that. It clearly is, and yeah, it's bad all around. So it's.
Do you agree with the sentiment that's going on nationally, which is that the Boston Celtics got worse and that they may not be, or do you still kind of view them? And I know you're biased, but like, do you still view them still relatively close to being a finals championship type of team?
I would like if you would have asked me, or if you would have gotten in contact with me the moment it happened, I would have said, yeah, we suck and we're not even going to make the playoffs. But after letting it simmer, we're not worse just because of the free agent signings that we got. Like, it's a different roster. But from that trade, yes, we did. And it's without a doubt that they did. It's not even debatable. But from the offseason in total, yes. Now, the roster is still a good roster. It is. Now, is it top 2 in the East? I don't believe so, but the Celtics are a good regular season team. So we'll see how that plays out. I mean, a lot of guys didn't expect this past year's team to do so well to get the 2 seed, and it was led by Jaylen Brown. Now with a healthy Tatum, with the same core, and then plus you add in a Mitchell Robinson and you add in more development guys. I mean, they have the potential to be better than that last year team, but there's a lot less teams in the East that are tanking. So
yeah,
it's, give and take there. But yeah, it's awful trade. Ownership as of right now is not the biggest they're not getting the biggest support, which they shouldn't. And I know a lot of people are putting this on Brad Stevens. I think it's more to it. And I think it's more of ownership.
Chaos.
Exactly. So, but yeah, it's all the CBA's fault. It's terrible.
Well, just remember, Jordan.
There's always hope.
Yeah, the Broncos are my hope, man. You on football. And the Marlins. The Marlins are the hottest team in baseball.
I was going to say the Marlins.
Watch out. I mean, we might win the whole thing.
Yeah, talk about a shocker. For only having like 15,000 fans a game.
Not even.
I was going to say, yeah, not even. When Banana Ball is actually selling out like Miami ballpark more than actually like the Marlins fan base, it's kind of sad.
Yeah. Yeah, the Miami fan base, they just got to see if the team is real, and then they'll start coming out. So they'll start coming out, especially if they continue to play like this. They'll for sure come
out. Jack, we actually do talk about some hockey here and there. Probably not as much as we should, but we do recognize the fact that there's a hockey team in town that is so much better than the New Jersey Devils, and probably could have won the Stanley Cup, this last year, had they decided to not, fart when it came to, the Vegas Golden Knights and, in that playoff round. But yeah, we do talk about some hockey here and there. Plus Brandon, I know, actually loves talking about basketball. So we always like talking about some Nikola Jokic minutes.
I'm just holding a breath until he signs that extension. I know he said he's going to do it, but
He can always come to Boston. I mean, we got more assets now. I mean, we'll give you Paul George.
If there's one thing I know about Joker, though, is he's pretty loyal.
It's the Jaylen Brown trade again.
Listen, I mean, I've been through heartbreak. It's, just be prepared for it. I mean, maybe he doesn't want to pay for David Adelman. I wouldn't want to pay for him either. So
it'll be really interesting to see what leash he has this upcoming year. Knowing the fact that they are bringing him back, but that doesn't necessarily change kind of the leash that they have on coaches. And I know that like in the NBA sometimes, and even the NHL does this too. I don't understand it sometimes in the NHL. And maybe it's just because it's like an 82-game season. But it'll be interesting to see, what happens with David Adelman and the leash that he has. And I know J.J. Barea is going to be coaching the team in Summer League, the Nuggets team in Summer League. And I know that they have another respected guy on that staff that people like a lot that's from the Mavericks. So it'll be really interesting to see, the leash that Adelman actually has, meaning like, do you cut ties with him like in the first 15 games if things don't actually go right? Because I know that in the NHL they do that. Like if a team's not performing like in the first like 15 games, and we've seen it happens in some seasons, but like they do it in the NBA. Like
the Golden Knights.
Well, they did at the end of the year.
Yeah, which was even more insane.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, where would you put it, Brandon, as far as like the leash for David Adelman?
I don't think it's that long.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
I'd say it's medium. I don't think he's on a hot seat, but I think it's medium.
Yeah. There you go, Jordan.
You gotta. I don't even know, man. I don't know where to begin with this team.
I wish I was born back in the day to see those teams.
Don't waste your prime of your best player.
I know. But if there's one thing that if Adelman moves on that I can that narrative can officially die, is that I look like David Adelman. So Josh, if you're watching the show, I do not look like David Adelman.
Oh.
I do not look like David Adelman. I'm not even close to David Adelman. I don't even want to be associated with a coach who's on the hot seat. So again, I do not look like David Adelman, except for the fact that yes, at one point I was bald, and now I am not, like David Adelman. So all right, we will do. I don't think we'll do a show next week, but as we're kind of ramping up for training camp, because training camp begins the 31st, if I'm not mistaken, of July. So we will make sure that we have a talking, episode, if you will, and kind of like bring back some of the stuff that we had about a couple weeks ago where we talked about player expectations and everything, like when we really kind of like talk about, the training camp, the position battles, maybe just kind of get a sense of like, maybe did things change, that our opinions change and everything as far as like now that training camp is kind of getting underway. We'll see maybe if we can get a guest on as well, maybe kind of get a chance to maybe see if we can preview training camp a little bit as we kind of dive into it. So want to thank everybody for hopping in the chat. Jack, everybody else that hopped in, make sure you hit the subscribe button for the MHRT Network page over there on YouTube. And as well as the Mainly Broncos YouTube page. And, of course, make sure you follow the boys. Follow Brandon at Brandon Miller PO. Follow Jordan at Jordan T. Lopez. Myself at Galen Parker PO. And, again, remind everybody, we do streams every Thursday if we can. This offseason's been a little bit different. But we do streams Thursdays at 7 or 7:30. And so, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We have a new day, if you will. Want to remind everybody again that the 5280 podcast will be taking a little bit of a hiatus here in the next month or so. And so, yeah, it's going to to be fun. We're going to still get you guys prepared as we're kind of going into training camp on that 5280 podcast. And who knows, we might actually dab a little bit into some of the Denver sports scene over there on the 5280 podcast as well. Again, want to thank everybody that was watching the episode. And then again, we probably won't be doing a show next week, but that 23rd will gear you up more and more for this training camp. So for Brandon, Jordan, and myself, this has been another episode of the Mainly Broncos podcast.
Let's go Broncos! God bless Bo Nix!
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flame mouth.